All right, folks, how's it going out there? Rooster here in Tennessee, and going to do a video on a radio I've been looking forward to showcasing here for a while. So let's take a look at the RCI99N1. This is the smallest version of the RCI99N series. Got the 99N2, which does 250, 300 watts PEP, and the N4 that does around 500 to 600 watts PEP. And this is kind of the smaller version. To me, this is a proper answer from RCI or Ranger to the Striker 955, 497, and 655 series radios. So Strikers have kind of been controlling that medium output radio market, the 80 to 125, 130 watt radios. And Ranger hasn't really had an answer for it up until, in my opinion, now with this RCI 99N1. Now, towards the end of the video, we'll get into the output of it, the performance of it, but as always, when I get a brand new radio in, I like to cover all the features first for someone that is debating whether this radio may or may not be for them. And it does have the same features as the other 99N series radios, but it is a different radio, so let's get into it here and talk about it. For starts, it does come with the SRA198 microphone noise canceling mic. A lot of people like to have those modified. I do sell them modified on the website, roostercb.com, but some people like the stock performance of them. Nice microphone, good value that it comes with. The power cord is either a 10 or 12 gauge power cord. That being said, I do recommend, if you can see off camera over here, the 8 gauge upgraded power cords that I sell. Or you can make one yourself. If you don't want to buy one from me, then I'll encourage you to make one yourself. You'll see a little bit better performance out of your radio, specifically a radio that's been tuned or optimized like this one sitting in front of us. And this radio is not stock. It has been tuned for optimal performance. That's about it as far as the basics go. The radio does not have a gigantic amp section on the bottom that prevents you from putting it in the console. Also has the front mic jack. So just know if you do put in a console heat, it will heat up faster, but you have that ability with this radio, nothing blocking you. If you're just using it very intermittently, that's not going to be an issue, but if you're someone that talks for extreme long periods of time, might take that in consideration before you box this thing in somewhere. You'll see the big red switch over here on the left. That's normally kills our amp section, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the performance side, but essentially on this radio, it's going to act more of just a immediate dead key drop. It's going to be like a high and low kind of for your dead key, even though you do have a variable power over here. When it's stock, it works a little bit different, but after you have the radio tuned or optimized, a lot of people like to opt and use that switch for something else. But we'll just leave it as it is. I think it has a useful purpose as it is. So again, front mic jack. Moving down the list here of the controls on the radio, volume and squelch, mic gain, RF gain. We're all pretty familiar with what those do. Your echo and time knob here, your talk back right here. You can run echo without talk back, or you can run it with talk back. You have that option.
Audio, 1, 2. Audio, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Audio check, 1, 2. Audio, 1, 1, 1, 1. Audio.
So a good sounding talkback, echo works properly as we would expect. And then you have your dimmer control here. We can dim the lights down a little bit. Matter of fact, we probably will do that for the video so it's not as hard on everybody's eyes. Fine tune here for your frequency counter, your frequency adjustment there. Okay, you get people that complain because you don't have a coarse tune. Really, in reality, guys, on sideband, if everyone had a radio that was on frequency, there would be no need for a coarse tune. The coarse tune comes in handy when you've got a friend or someone you're talking to that has a jacked up radio that's off frequency, and you're really catering to their off frequency radio when you have to dial your receive in that much. Really, you should be able to talk to anybody you want to on sideband by just adjusting your fine tune. You shouldn't really need a coarse tune. So you'll have some people that that's a discrepancy for them. But again, I think just having the fine tune is perfectly fine. That way, if someone's off frequency, you can tell them, hey, you need to go get your radio aligned. You're off frequency, not me. So you've got different colors for the face here. As always, lots of selection there. Some of these are hard to tell a difference between with the video, but lots of colors. Red's generally my favorite, or the purple. We'll go with blue, so we've got something a little bit different from previous videos. 3 modes of operation: upper sideband, AM, and lower sideband. No, it does not have FM. For those that are FM lovers, no FM on this radio. AM and sideband only. Noise blanker off, and then PA switch if you want to use it for a PA. Your high and low band selector, you've got 6 bands on this radio, so tons and tons of channels. If that's something you like to do, is free band around, and you've got a high and low for each band. So 6 bands with a high and low each for a total of 12 sets of 40 channels for each band. Your meter settings, modulation, power, just different meter functions over here. They're just a reference, kind of. Check, audio, check. I'd probably run it in power. On modulation, it'll work the needle a little bit harder, you'll see. Check, audio, check, audio. Bounces around a little bit more there, so if it was mine, I'd probably run it on power. That's pretty much it for the basic controls and functions of the radio. We'll get into testing it here. Our test voltage is going to be 14.7 volts. Keep in mind we are using the custom heavy-duty 8-gauge OFC power cord. So if you don't have this power cord, your performance may vary a little bit. As always, as a reminder to people, if you're using anything besides a bird meter, this video is not a very good reference for you power output wise. You may see more or less power if you're running a different type of watt meter. Bird is the industry standard, so we always just test on a bird meter, and that's that. So if you have a DOSI and it does less power, you know, it's just part of it. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the radio. It just means your meter does not read like a bird meter does. So before we, well, I guess that's it. No more before we get started. Let's get started on the output test of it and the performance of it here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start out testing on AM, and I'm going to leave the power wide open on it for right now, just for reference. And we're going to leave our red switch up. 14.7 volts is what we're at, and we have a 500 watt slug, so we'll be looking at the middle scale here. 10 is going to be 100, and then the big hash mark between 0 and 100 is going to be 50. So let's see how this guy does. Audio. So about 60 watts average on audio. This is on AM. Audio with about a 15 watt dead key. Now all I'm going to do, I'm not going to touch the RF power. I'm going to hit our red switch and turn it down. And I am keyed up. As you can see, our dead key drops significantly. That's up. That's off. Audio. And our average power drops a little bit. Hello radio, audio. Audio. Drops to about 45, almost 50 watts average. Now what I'm going to do is go to PEP. This is peak power with the red switch down. Audio check 1 2 3. Audio check 1 2 3. We're looking at the middle scale again, guys. So about 150, 160 watts or so. PEP. Audio 1 2 3. Audio. Now I'm just going to turn the red switch up. I just now clicked it back into the up position. Audio 1 2 3. Audio 1 2 3. Audio 1 2 3. Audio. And it may do just slightly more. You know, 165, 170 watts PEP. So that's their function of the red switch. And when you turn the RF power down, it'll still, you know, it'll drop it in the same proportion that it dropped it from wide open. Now we're going to have the radio at 12 o'clock. Audio 1 2 3. Audio 1 2 3. Audio 1 2 3. Audio. Still swinging the same amount of PEP. Audio. And still swinging 50 watts average. So that gives us a good idea of the output on AM. Got a lot of versatility there and some really good output numbers of it. In comparison, it compares to the power output is a little bit more than what we actually see out of the all the way 955. So a lot of people will still opt for a Striker 955 just because they like the features and the layout of a Striker quite a bit. But if you're more of into the traditional type radios, but that's the kind of power output you're looking for, the RCI99N1 is a really good option. I'm really fond of this radio. Like it a lot so far. Got a lot of different amps that you could run this thing into. Really, really good starter radio, in my opinion, is this RCI99N1. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to leave the RF power 12 o'clock. and we're going to go over to upper sideband and see what kind of current we draw first. Audio, 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 audio. 5 or 6 amps there at 12 o'clock. Audio. Average power around 30 watts with it at 12 o'clock. And then our PEP, audio, 1, 2, 3. Audio, 1, 2, 3. Audio. About 125. That's with RF power halfway. Let's turn it wide open. See how it does. Audio, 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 audio. Changed our current draw a little bit. May have came up some on that initial audio. And then on a PEP, audio, 1, 2, 3. Audio, 1, 2, 3. Audio, 1, 2, 3. Audio, 1, 2, 3. Audio. About 125 to 130 watts. PEP there on upper sideband. Audio, average power. Hello, audio. About 30 watts average power there on upper sideband. And on lower sideband, audio, about the same. So, our sideband power is a little bit less. That's actually probably a good thing when we're talking about especially run this thing into an amplifier, because that's one way that a lot of people end up messing their amps up, is because when they go to sideband, their radio does so much average power that it ends up overdriving their amp. So I kind of like the way this thing performs. It does about 25 watts less on PEP and on average power, 25 to 30 watts less. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm really crazy about this radio. You guys probably hear me before talk about the 99N series. They're some of my favorite radios out right now for export radios. Just really hard to beat. Of course, I love Striker as well. Sell lots of Strikers. But a big fan of these RCI99N series radios, especially considering you don't have a big gawky amp section hanging off the bottom of this thing. Nice heat sink on the back. You can run the standard power cord with it, standard plug, I should say. But again, I do recommend upgrading to one of these power cords. Whether you're running a Striker or a Ranger radio, they certainly do help. So that's it, guys. Excuse me. Let me know what you think about this thing. I have them in stock on the website, roostercb.com. I do have some of these in stock, and we'll try to keep some of these in stock. If they are not available in stock, they will always be available for pre-purchase, and there's just about a 10 to 14-day turnaround on pre-purchased radios. So, RCI99N1. Hope this video helps you make a decision, whether you buy this radio from me or somebody else. Gives you a little bit of a detailed view on it and what you can expect. Again, just a reminder, don't buy one of these stock, brand new out of the box, and expect this performance out of it. Your performance may vary from different retailers, different sellers. It could vary, a little bit from this video. But a good tune, good optimized radio, RCI99N1. Everybody have a good day out there. Rooster in Tennessee. Catch you guys out there. See you, bye.